What's up? What's up? This is Ash. Like always, I'm here with my boy Manny Fresh and KFT.
Yay, yay. And we're in the house, man. Check it out. KFT is a little bit under the weather, but he's still able to hang out with us tonight. We appreciate that because we got a special guest. When I say special, this man right here is special, man. I've got to know him personally. I got to know him inside the locker room and outside the locker room from pro wrestling. And this is a good dude, man. And it's none other than the hardcore legend, Madman motherfucking Pondo. What's up, Pondo?
What's up, guys?
Pondo?
Thank you for your time, man. Thank you for having the faith in me that I'd be a good guest.
No, fuck that.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you, bro.
Thank you. We already knew, man. Once I told the boys that you were available, man, because I know you got a crazy schedule, and they were like, hell yeah. So, man, it's an honor to have you, brother.
Well, it's a good time to do this because I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but we are iced in here in Indiana.
Yeah, over here too.
Yeah.
Over here too.
So check it out, man. I'd like to start this joint off. You know, I've known you for years, Pondo. We met as a blessing through the Rude Boy. I've had the honor to share the ring with you, man, and I learned so much from you. You know what I'm saying? Like it says, I'll be one of the first guys to tell you, you're one of the hardest motherfuckers that I ever worked. You gave it to me just as much as I gave it. You know what I mean? And the crowd loved it. It was such a learning experience, man. I learned so much from you, man, as far as like the hardcore style and everything. Because I was familiar with it, but I had never really done a lot of hardcore matches. And then Rudy's like, you're defending the title tonight against Man Pondo. And I'm like, what? Okay. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? My fucking jaw dropped and shit. You know what I mean? But as we got in the ring and we start working things out, man, it flowed great. The crowd loved it, man. I loved it. I thanked you a lot after the match, but I've been doing my homework on you, man, and I've noticed that a ton of people have been trying to get you on social media. I was watching the deal you did with Shane Douglas, the one you just had with the Rude Boy shooting straight.
Yep. Another one
That's
in
awesome.
Australia. I just did one in Australia.
How was that?
It was hour long, and I'm so full of shit I can go more than an hour. So
Fuck yeah.
probably part two coming,
Yeah, man. No, man. So one of my first questions, Pondo, seriously, is like, I watched your history, and of course I know it a little bit, but a lot of our fans, are hardcore wrestling fans from all over. A lot of them are juggalos. We have a lot of fans that aren't juggalos. You know what I'm saying? What brought you into wrestling? Let them know, because I've heard the story, but I know these guys haven't. What led you? What gave you that little spark to say, hey, you know what? I want to be a pro wrestler.
So back in the day, me and my brother and my family, we would all go to my great grandma and grandpa's house to eat on Sundays. Like it was a every Sunday thing. That was also the time that Channel 7 Wrestling was on, which it was CWA back then. It became USWA later, but that was your Memphis area with Jerry the King Lawler, Bill Dundee, the Sheep Herders, the Moondogs, all that. Tojo Yamamoto. My family is very reserved. Like, we're not religious. We don't go to church on Sundays, but we didn't make fun of religion or we didn't, just kind of quiet. I was the, you know me, Manny. I'm the fucking black sheep of the family that can't keep a mouth shut. You know what I mean? But when wrestling was on, my great grandma and grandpa would be talking about some dirty motherfuckers and some sons of bitches, and it just me and my brother were just blown away, and it was just so funny and just so hilarious that these two, probably in their 80s at the time, siblings of ours was just cussing up a storm, So it made me a fan of it, and then. So I started watching it as much as I can. There was a college in Alney, Illinois, which was 30 miles from Flora, Illinois, where I lived. And a friend of mine was a teacher in Alney Central College. And he
Okay.
called me one day and he said, "Hey, check it out. I've got a wrestler in my class." And
Oh
I said,
wow.
can you get that guy's telephone number for me? He's like, "Yeah, do you want to just go to his shows?" I said, "Hell no, I'm going to be a professional wrestler." I called that guy, and with 2 weeks after that telephone call, I was in the school, and I got to give it up to my parents. They helped me out so much with buying me an '87 Thunderbird at that time that was real easy on gas, and so I trained for 6 months, and then they put me in the ring on my birthday, June 24th, 1989, and they asked me if I thought I could sell any tickets. Well, I sold over $280 worth of tickets. So
Wow.
the crowd was mine, but that was my first match. I didn't get shit money wise, which I don't care about that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, you're
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
June
That's the
June
way it is.
24th, June 24th, 1989, Albion, Illinois was the birth of Man Pondo.
That's
June
awesome, man. And it's still going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're still doing
Yeah,
shit in the ring. I just watched another video here on YouTube. You and another young guy. I think it was somewhere here in Michigan. Big guy with the beard and
Brutus.
yeah,
Uh,
Brutus. Yep.
Brutus Atwell.
Yeah, yeah. So I just watched that one, man, and I was just like, I said, oh, he took it easy on that guy.
Yeah, you did. I noticed that
And,
too. I
you know,
noticed that too.
it's to the point. Let me tell you, I got time to tell you like a 3-minute story.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
Oh
man. Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Shoot it,
Uh,
shoot it.
so I went to this show, and all the guys said, "Hey, Pondo, the paper's wrong. That's not really who you're wrestling, but this guy's afraid of you. So we made a fake lineup, you versus him." And I'm like, "All right, I'll play along when he gets here." So I'm waiting on a James Ellsworth to walk in, some
Uh,
nerdy small guy. And next thing I know, this 6'9", been eating steroids since he was 2 years old, tattooed up everything, and comes in, and everybody's like, "That's him, that's him." I'm like, "That's him?" And he goes over to the list, and he gets down to his match. He says, "Motherfucker." And he starts heading towards the door, and everybody's like, "Where are you going?" He says, "I left something in my car." And they had to call him 20 minutes later and tell him, "You're not really wrestling Madman Pondo. Come back." And he did. But I guess the reputation over years has really made guys out there not want to wrestle me. So you're right. I've kind of calmed down on guys where the reputation calms down, and it's always the same thing, kind of like what Manny was talking about. It's always the same thing. Before they wrestle me, they think I can pull barbed wire out of my asshole and cut them with it or something like that. But then after they get done wrestling me, they come to me and they say, "Oh my God, that was the easiest thing I ever done." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what this is. It's a work." So
yeah.
You know what? I could see that though, because I was able to witness you live one time in my life. Before that, it was all through videos and whatever. And I could see how people would look at you and say, like, "Man, I don't want to wrestle this guy. He's gonna fuck me up. He's crazy. He don't give a fuck." And I could see why people would want to leave or not want to wrestle you.
I'm just 5'9" and got a fat gut, so it just floors
Hey,
me.
man, yeah, but you look like you're in there about to. You look like a Leatherface in there. You look like
Yeah,
a killer.
straight
You
up.
know what I mean? It's
I
different
take
than
that as a
staring.
compliment.
I mentioned
Definitely,
it.
man. Definitely, man.
As a matter of fact, I remember he was gonna go up on a balcony or something, and he was standing right in front of me, and he yelled out, "Get the fuck out the way!"
Oh, I remember that shit.
When he did that, he sprayed blood everywhere, and I was
Uh,
like, "This motherfucker's terrifying! Like, what the fuck?" We all got the fuck out of the way. So yeah, man, that shit was dope. That was cool.
I apologize about that.
Oh, hell
Oh
no.
no, it was hell no. It was all part of the show.
Just I want to ask, like, how do you go through that shit? How you're saying about it's a work. I do understand that, right? But I was watching some of the shit with you and Ian Rotten.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Exactly. Fuck that shit. I was like, there's no way I could take that shit.
Here's the thing about that. I get guys all the time saying, "Hey, can you teach me to be a deathmatch worker?" And I tell them all the same thing. There is no teaching you to be a deathmatch worker. You either have it in you or you do not have it in you.
Right.
But I'm getting proven wrong by that because no way did I think Matt Cardona was going to have a good death match with Nick Gage. But did you guys all watch that match by any chance?
Yeah, I checked it out.
I did not.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Fucking great match. I couldn't believe Matt Cardona was doing that shit. And because he did that shit, on every podcast, I always say this. I challenge Matt Cardona to a 10,000 thumbtack match. And maybe someday it'll work. Maybe someday it won't. But he's one of those guys this year that impressed the shit out of me because I did not think he would go balls to the walls, and he sure did.
That's awesome, man. Because like you said, man, it is. You know what I'm saying? Like you can talk about it, but when it comes time to do it, it's a totally different story, man. You know what I mean? And when you're actually going through it and that adrenaline's going, you're thinking about, is this looking good? Are the fans happy? Is the other guy happy? Is he safe? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anybody's ever asked you this. Can you remember at least one of your worst matches, like one of your worst opponents that you were just like, come on, guy?
Wow.
New Jack. Just playing.
You know what? New Jack always had good matches. We always had good chemistry. That's the thing about that guy, man. He's another one. When he walked in the building, everybody was afraid of. If you knew New Jack, if you was with New Jack, and here's the problem with the guys who got fucked up in New Jack's matches, they didn't realize it was a New Jack match, and they would start calling shit or pick up shit that they wasn't supposed to, you know, and New Jack wasn't going to let you do that. He'd fuck you up. Well, I pay attention, you know, so from the very first match, I realized, okay, this is a New Jack match. I let him tell me what he wanted to do, so we always got along.
So, was there anybody that took you under their wing?
I was very fortunate on my travels to travel with two guys, Tracy Smothers and Bull Payne.
Awesome.
And
Nice.
those guys taught me so much. When I first, I mean, your first 8 years, you ain't shit in this business, man. You think you are, but you're not. But then I finally got some steam, and two of the guys who I rode with, you know, even after the people were cheering my name, and I don't mean to sound bragging, but you know, after they was cheering my name and they knew the stop sign was mine and all that, then I got fine tuned by Bull Payne and Tracy Smothers, who said, "Hey, after you do this, here's this. After you do this, here's this." And I just, you know, I was a sponge. Promise you I was. I just took in everything, and here I am today. Just like you said, it doesn't matter what area I go to. They either I determine whether they cheer me or they boo me, and that was a big Tracy Smothers line. You dictate what they do, if they want to cheer you or boo you. And
Awesome.
so yeah,
That's
I just
badass.
always learned from those two.
What was it that led you into the hardcore wrestling?
So do you guys remember WWE used to have a pay-per-view every Sunday called In Your House?
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you remember, a lot of those matches might as well just been on regular TV, but the main event was always cool. So me and like 11 of my friends would come to my house, and we would all chip in and we would buy the pay-per-view. During the pay-per-view, we would we would order pizzas. We wasn't paying much attention to the TV, and uh, always the main event. We sat down there, and all eyes were on the main event. But after that, all the guys knew that I had these deathmatch videotapes, so they would always say, "Pondo, put in one of them." You know, they didn't even have a name then. It wasn't deathmatch tapes. It was just put in one of them bloody videotapes, or put in that tape with the barbed wire, all this shit. And then I would realize when I put those videotapes in, all 11 guys' eyes would be on fixated on that TV. There was no getting up and going getting pizza. There was no talking amongst each other. We was just waiting on the next big thing, and that's what the videotape that I had wore out was Mr. Pogo versus Masanaga, and Pogo put some kind of alcohol in his mouth and spit fire on Masanaga's head and caught his hair on fire. Just shit like that. And I'm watching all these guys focus in on that TV, and I'm like, man, I can do this shit. I can fucking do this shit, and this is something that I could be good at, because shit, I was always clumsy and getting hurt, but just up and running the next day. So I am happy to say that the videotape that I wore out of Mr. Danger and Mr. Pogo, I'm on first name basis with both of those guys going into Japan doing the deathmatch stuff. And Mr. Danger, I always go to his restaurant. I'm always welcomed in. He's given me free steaks before, and that's like unheard of. And rest in peace to Mr. Pogo. He always wanted me to come and work his company. I got to work him one time, and yeah, so that's what drew me in. All those videotapes of my friends just going nuts, and how cool it was.
And then speaking about Japan, man, I had heard, and I had asked you about this the one time. I was just like, Rudy, I think Rude Boy told me, he was like, bro, this guy's got a beer named after him. I was like, what? And then it was at one of the gatherings when you and I were just sitting there chopping it up, and I asked you, and yeah, go ahead and tell the guys about your beer in Japan.
Yeah, I have a bottle sitting right here actually, and when we just did the Violent J in your house pay-per-view last year,
Yeah, I remember that shit.
Violent J still has one sitting on his shelf.
Yep.
But Big Japan made beers for Zandig, White Beater, Nick Gage, for Trent Acid and Johnny Casimir, and me. I think there was only 5. White Beater, I think White Beater had one. I'm not sure, but there was this bar that would sell them. So I went to that bar and I said, let me have a bottle of MMP. And I brought it over, and they said 5,000 yen. And I picked up the bottle and I pointed at my face in the bottle. I said, MMP. And they still said 5,000 yen. I'm like,
5,000 yen.
but I don't, I'm sorry, 500 yen, 500 yen. But I don't drink beer. I don't drink alcohol, and this beer tasted like they put a bucket under a goat. It was that fucking bad. But
it had a nickel taste to it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, I beer here. I'm not straight edge or nothing. Like, I've had a beer, or I've had a screwdriver or something like that. But this was just god fucking awful. But it's just cool that they thought of you, and you have your face and name on a beer bottle.
Hey, Pondo.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, with the fucking scissors, what was up with that shit? Like, you were cool with that, or did you guys talk?
I was totally cool with that. And here's the thing: I wanted to get a job at CZW. From ECW, Hat Guy was sitting out in the crowd. You guys remember Hat Guy from ECW?
Yeah, the fan dude.
Yep.
Well, they said, if you can impress Hat Guy, then you've got a job. Well, that's where the wheels started turning. I made the announcement, does anybody have a pair of scissors? And there was a guy named Lord Everett, and he brought me a pair of scissors. Well, what I didn't know was they were still in the package. and he took them out of the package and handed them to me. So they were razor fucking sharp.
Fuck that.
So, but it wouldn't have mattered. We'd still used them on each other because we was trying to get jobs at this company. And so I, I hate the piece of shit, so I don't say his name as much as I can. So
Right,
I
fuck
put
him.
his face over on the middle rope, looked over at Hat Guy, cut him from temple to temple, and Hat Guy was almost about to puke, and I'm like, "Yep, I got a job in this motherfucker."
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's I'm not gonna lie, that shit's rough to watch. I couldn't do it. I was like, fuck that, man. Like, god damn, how do you do that, man?
Well, I was probably still in my 20s then. I'm 51 now. I don't heal as much as good as I did then, so it would probably take a lot longer to talk me into some shit like that
Yeah,
now.
definitely don't do that, man. You don't need to do that no more. Don't do the pencil shit either. Remember the pencil shit?
Never will I do that pencil shit ever fucking again. So I
Fuck
took
that.
a Death Valley driver on a bed of number 2 pencils, and
Oh,
it got inside my bloodstream and fucked me up for 6 solid days of agony.
God,
So,
man.
Holy shit.
Tell them how you took it
since
out.
that, what's that?
Tell them how you took it out, that one.
You talking about the one in my ass, right?
Yeah, yeah. Tell them how you took that shit out. That's fucking
So,
crazy.
after the 6th day, I could click my fingernail on the edge of one of them. So I took 2 fingers back on my ass cheek, and I pushed in, and the pencil lead, which was maybe an inch, came out of my asshole. Or not my asshole. It was another asshole actually, but it just came out like a zit. And I don't know. After day 6, things started getting better, and other wrestlers have I've found out that they've wanted to imitate me doing that, and I've called both of them and I said, listen guys, it's not something to imitate me on. I was in agony for 6 days. Don't fucking do it. So that's the one thing that I'm not big on razor wire, because razors are meant to cut. Bob wire will scratch you. And then I'm not big on fire because it's so fucking unpredictable. I've had my arm on fire and shit. But number 2 pencils can suck my dick. I will never do that shit ever fucking again.
awesome, man.
I mean, it was brutal. Holy shit.
Now
Yeah.
that brings me to my next question. What's one of your most favorite matches, your most memorable matches, if you can remember? Because I know you've had a lot of them, brother.
Yeah, I have one that just sticks out every time I get this question, and it was 2005 Gathering of the Juggalos, Man Pondo versus Terry Funk when he had the JCW belt, and I won the JCW belt off of Terry Funk. I mean that
Oh,
I don't know how much higher in life I could go than that dream match, and also walk out with a belt. You know, Terry Funk was the fucking gentleman, and to this day we're still friends. Um, he's I call him sporadically every once in a while. Um, he's in a nursing home. He's in a nursing home now, and I fucking hate that. But
Yeah.
Mania weekend on my way to Dallas, I'm stopping through and taking him out to eat. Hopefully.
Fuck yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, fuck
Awesome.
yeah, man. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Because Shaggy was just telling us a story about they were on their JCW tour and they had Sabu with them, and they were by Amarillo, and Sabu was like, "Hey, you want to stop by and see Terry Funk?" And they're like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, I got his number." So they called him up, and he was like, "Yeah, bring the boys by." And he was like, "Holy shit, man!" So he told us that story, man, and that was just he just talked about how mad cool he was, super nice guy, very hospitable. Him and his wife. So that's awesome, man.
Rest in peace, Terry Funk's wife.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For real. Hey, Pondo, so how shitted were you when you suplexed Necro Butcher and that shit happened on his arm? Did you shit yourself almost? Cause fuck, man, that one was another brutal ass one. I couldn't believe that shit.
So I went to the hospital with Necro, and here, so I'm sitting there, man, and I keep apologizing and apologizing,
Mm-hmm.
and finally Necro comes over and he says, Pondo, what move did you do for that glass to go on my arm? And I said, a suplex. He goes, okay. Where was my arm? I said, it was behind my neck. And he goes, exactly. If my arm wasn't on your neck, do you realize that same piece of glass would have went through the back of
Oh
your neck?
shit.
He's like,
Yeah.
stop sitting there and beating yourself up about it. Just realize we did something that everybody's going to talk about for the rest of their lives. And I said, all right, cool, you know. So, yeah, Necro made me feel a lot better about it. But if you saw the video, the minute I saw Necro's arm, I'm the one that called the match. And yeah, I mean, I don't want anybody hurt, but especially my very good friends, you know.
Yeah. Damn, man. Necro Butcher's a shit for saying that to you too, though, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we might not be here doing this interview if Necro didn't have his arm behind my neck.
Yeah, definitely, man. I know. I was watching the one interview with Rudy and the shoot interview, and I know they said something about you might be going back to Japan in March if it opens up, if the flights open back up.
Well, that's the problem. I've been supposed to go back to Japan since 2019, and
Oh wow.
that was at the beginning of the whole COVID thing. And then I'm still supposed to go. Like, I still get contacted all the time. Hey, we haven't forgot about you, but the Japanese airports aren't open for foreigners. But
Yeah.
since then, um, like the Drew Parker guys came back and forth and stuff like that. But when I get a hold of the Japanese consulate and stuff like that, they talk about 14-day quarantine on my dime, and I've been over there, you know, and 14 days in a hotel room, you could go nuts. So yeah,
Yeah.
I keep telling them let's just get that airport open, and then I'll come over.
How many visits have you had to Japan?
43.
Damn.
2000 to 2008, and then another time in April of 2017.
And what do you think of it?
Japan's probably my favorite country that I've been to. I've been to Japan, Germany, England, Australia, Mexico, and Canada. And I mean, I had a Japanese wife, so I had Japanese in-laws that I could stay with, and her friends were my friends. They would take me to Disneyland or out to eat, you know. So Japan was probably my favorite country that I went to. Here's what I'll tell you about Japan, because I get questions about Japan all the time. You could walk into McDonald's, and the minute that you walk into the door, they're yelling at you, "Ishimashi," and calling you over, which means, "Can I help you, please?" So already just walking in the door, they're yelling at you to come over and they can help you. You go up to the counter, they're smiling. You give them your order. They run to go get it. They run to bring it back. And then when you sit down and you open it, it looks like the pictures that are displayed.
That's
Right.
that's posted on the wall.
That's Japan. Now you come to America and go to McDonald's, and
Yeah.
It's just a slop of shit.
lucky if your cheese is even on the patty, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
man.
The
Exactly.
side of the box. Motherfucker pops out on the side of the box. You got like half a pickle.
Oh man. So what do you got? What do you got going on now, brother? I I know you're still working. You know what I'm saying? This and that, and I know you were supposed to have a benefit show tonight, right? But the ice storm canceled that. You know,
Yeah.
like so our listeners, because we got a little bit of listeners from all over the country. You know what I'm saying? And you know, what are some of your upcoming events and stuff, brother?
I got West Virginia tomorrow, as long as I can get out of my parking lot, which
Yeah.
the sun's supposed to come out tomorrow, so I think I'll be fine on that. I'm working a company called Anna Fight Underground, and me and the Deathmatch Samurai Akira is going to do no rope barbed wire. I'm working
Okay.
for the ICW No Holds Barred. Me and Satu Jin is, I don't know. It doesn't matter what it is. It's going to be bloody, I'm sure, whatever it is. And then, I mean, I'm still doing the deathmatch stuff. My calendar's still filling up. I'm my only job right now is wrestling, and I'm able to pay my bills with it. So I'm very fortunate. Uh, as long as COVID stays where it is and doesn't shut a bunch of shit down. I was
Yeah.
February 5th. I was supposed to do a deathmatch tournament in Canada, but the numbers in Ontario and Niagara Falls area went up, so that got postponed to some other day. But this COVID thing is just mess. It did mess me up for a while, but now I'm back on my feet, and my calendar's full of good dates and good paydays. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
living happy, you know.
You deserve
God
it, man.
damn,
You're
so
a good guy,
staying
man.
busy.
Yeah, definitely,
Staying
definitely,
busy. That's
man.
awesome.
What
Love
about
that.
your merch, man? Where can you get some of
Yeah.
them shirts?
I am gonna. A guy named Corey Higdon did the coolest thing for deathmatch workers. He made a website that only deathmatch workers can sell their merch on, and you can find like 8 or 9 of my t-shirts on there, and then any deathmatch guy that you can think of is probably on there. Uh, Go to deathmatchworldwide.com and talk to Corey Higdon. Tell Corey Higdon Pondo sent you. It's not like he's going to give you anything cheaper, but
Yeah,
it'll make him smile to find out that I sent somebody his way. And
yeah,
then
definitely.
and then
What?
if you go to Amazon.com or if you go to eatsleepwrestle.com, I have a book out. And so far, I haven't gotten any complaints. Everybody says that they laugh out loud all the way through the book. And again, that's Amazon.com, or you can go to eatsleepwrestle.com and ask John Cosper for an autographed copy. The name of the book is Memoirs of a Madman. There's stories in there. There's plenty of pictures in there. I think it's 348 pages, maybe 248 pages. I don't know. I get hit in the head all the fucking time, so I forget shit. But yeah, man, that's the two things that are out there available to whoever is a Mondo fan.
Oh fuck yeah,
That's
man.
awesome, man.
Um,
I definitely got to check that out,
yeah,
man.
me too.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that one thing we learned from that, from things you've said, is I don't think people realize or recognize what goes into a death match as far as, caring on how you work the crowd and all. People just think it's a stapler and that works the crowd, and that's awesome to hear that you give a fuck.
And people tell me that all the time, that they can tell that I think things out and that I put psychology in my matches, because it's still an art form. And
Yeah,
the biggest proof of that is Masters of Pain 2021. I put so much thought into that death match tournament and the 8 guys that was in it. And we had 8 individual different matches. Nobody had the same thing in their matches. Well, I mean, a few things, but each theme was different. I always uh, I I applaud Brett Lauderdale and Danny D'Amato right now for doing so much for the deathmatch scene. Uh, they're the ones keeping it alive. I give it up for AEW. They did attempt to do some deathmatch stuff, but regular TV is just not ready for it. They did the Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage match, and it really got them a lot of heat. And then I don't know if you guys saw it, but Thunder Rosa took on Britt Baker in a death match on TV
Yeah, I
or
seen
on
that.
Dynamite.
Yeah,
It was so
yeah.
good,
Yeah.
so good. So yeah, give it up to all those companies out there that are just keeping death matches are at an all-time high right now. Wouldn't you agree with that, Manny?
yeah, yeah. They are. They've come a long way, and they're hot, man. These people love seeing it. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that they just. It's like you can't believe it unless you see it with your own eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like watching something on TV or YouTube is one thing, but when you're actually watching these guys go at it with all this shit, and it's right in front of you, man. It's an experience. It's a moving experience.
And I
It really
have
is.
for the past. I think I started death matches 98, 99, and had to go through so many obstacles, so much red tape. Been hated on for years, and now death matches are just another. People don't hate on them as much. I mean, they still
Yeah.
hate on them. Trust me on that. Oh my God, they still hate on them. But it's more mainstream now. GCW just sold out the Hammerstein Ballroom. Um, the John Moxley versus Kenny Omega. Yes, the final result of the exploding barbed wire was pretty much shit. It was a fireworks show. We agree with that. But the thing about that is that whole pay per view was based around a death match.
Yeah.
And I was on Talk is Jericho, and he even told me that that was one of the biggest buy rates that AEW has had was that pay per view just because of that main event. So I'm so happy that death matches are going in the direction that they are. And um, if I was to die tomorrow, at least I would know that all this shit, because I was number 3 in America to start doing death matches. At least if there was no me tomorrow, I could go knowing that all this hard work that I put in is finally getting shown to the world, and I couldn't be happier about that.
You got. I don't know if you know, or I'm pretty sure you do, and I hope you do take it. But you're a legend in in that world, the super legend in the
Yeah.
hardcore world.
Well, thanks, guys. I
And that's the thing with me is, it's just that you're a legend in hardcore, but you're a legend in wrestling. Period, Pondo. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
fuck yeah.
It doesn't even just automatically have to go to the hardcore. When you talk about Man Pondo, people know who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the younger guys, which is a rarity, because some of these younger guys only watch what they see on TV right now. You know what I mean? But when you talk about you, and they're like, "Yeah, man," or "We met him before," or "We were on a show he was on, and he was real cool," and 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 every I've never heard one person ever speak bad about you, and if they did, I'd probably fuck them up because you're my boy. You know what I'm saying? You're my boy. We sat and kicked it plenty of times, man, and just chopped it up. You know what I mean? But
Drop them on the pencils.
oh hell yeah, shit on their heads. But you know what I mean? It's just in general, man, wrestling in general, I need you to know that you are a legend in wrestling itself too, bro. In this, especially this independent scene that is as crazy as fuck. You know what I'm saying? You are a true legend.
it's probably what's kept me going all these years because I want to keep living even after I die. Does that sentence make sense
Oh,
to you
definitely,
guys?
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I want to be that guy that not only gets brought up once a year. I want if some shit happens, like right now, if you think about it, if somebody uses a stop sign, they're gonna think of me.
Yeah, fuck
Yep.
yeah.
If somebody, if so, the very first light tube log cabin that you see everybody using now, I was the first one to land on one of them damn things. Now
Uh-huh.
whether the future knows that or not, surely now that it's on this podcast, somebody's gonna realize, oh well, Pondo was the first one to land on one of them light tube log cabin. I took it to Japan. I was the first one to land on it in Japan, and it made it in the newspaper over there.
That's fucking
Oh
So
fresh,
wow.
dude. Yes.
I just want to keep on, and yes, I'm 51, I'm 52. I should have stopped a long time ago, but I just can't because in my mind, I haven't done enough. And if you think about it, I've been on 3 video games. I've been in a movie with Robert England. I did the Juggalo March, which I'm so proud of because I'm just a
Yeah.
small town kid from Florida, Illinois. But I did a speech in between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. You
Yep.
Yes.
know, right there, where right there in front of the water, right there where Forrest Gump jumped into the water and was yelling Judy's name. I did a fucking speech there, you know. This,
Yeah.
this shit that I, if you guys got a few minutes, you know, I hear this all the time. Pondo's just a bleeder. Pondo's just a bleeder. Well, I know professional wrestlers that are only wrestlers that hasn't done half the shit in this business that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And with Manny on this line, he'll be able to tell you, guys, I have had some bad bitches in my time. I'm talking about some girls that this ugly, fat bellied, scarred up old man should have never put his hands on. But I have had some bad bitches in my life.
Yeah.
Testify, Manny.
Yes. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. I guarantee you. I've seen him, man. I've seen him, and I was just like, God damn, she got a friend. I was like, yeah, she got a cousin or something. She got a prima, because I'm like, yeah, man. But he's, and that's what I'm saying, man. He's literally the man all the way around, bro. Like I tell you guys, man.
The thing that I'm trying to get at with that is, so I never put down luchador wrestling because there's a market for it. Fans love luchador. I never put down technical wrestling because there's some fans out there who love technical wrestling. I never
Yeah.
put down comedy wrestling, you know, Chikara. I never put down comedy wrestling because there are fans out there who love comedy wrestling. But the one that gets hated the most is the damn deathmatch
Yeah.
wrestling. But you know, deathmatch workers, we don't we don't put down the other wrestling because we realize there's a market for everything. There's room for everybody. If you don't like deathmatch workers, if you don't like deathmatch wrestling, the biggest thing that you can do is not watch the shit.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, Pondo, man, we thank you again for your time, brother. Like I said, I know you're a busy man. You got a lot of things going on, but we truly appreciate you giving us a little bit of time to speak on our podcast and to some of our fans and everybody. Man, it's been an honor as always. You know that for me. You're truly one of my brothers, man. You took care of me in the ring and outside the ring, and I can never repay you for that. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's an honor, man. Thank you so much for giving us this little bit of time that you gave us, man.
No, thank you for the time. And I just want to tell all the wrestling fans out there and the juggalos and all that shit. I see you people stare at me. I see you look at me from afar. And, you know, if I'm on the path at the gathering, I'll see you guys whisper to each other, but walk past me. I'm not a dick. I'm not an asshole. Come over and say hello. You know, just have a conversation with me. I'm a good guy. And that whole I'm a star. I don't want to talk to nobody. That ain't me. I'm not a star, and I want to talk to everybody. So
Yes.
yeah,
It's not that. It's the number two pencils you got in your bag.
yeah.
We're like, fuck that. We don't want none of that.
Yeah,
I'll
hell
pull one out and give you an autograph. How's that?
yeah.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
All right, man. Hey, for real, Pondo though. Thank you. I really appreciate this, and I hope we can have you on later on because there's a lot more shit I wanted to ask, but
Oh yeah.
Man, I'm so full of shit. I'm ready for part 2 tomorrow. I don't care.
you never know. We just might.
Yeah, we just might pretty soon, man. We're gonna have to take you up on that offer, man. Definitely, definitely pretty soon, man. But all right, brother. I just wanted you, say good night to you, man, and stay blessed and stay healthy, bro. And you know what I'm saying? Like I says, much love always, bro.
All right. And hey, last thing, um, it's a pandemic going on and the weather's bad and the holidays just got done. Check on your friends, man. Uh, Anxiety and depression is a terrible thing. People look like they're in good moods on the outside, but have a lot of shit going on the inside. If you haven't heard from somebody or if you're worried about somebody, don't think twice, reach out and check in on somebody. But thank you guys for your time.
That was
You,
beautiful,
bro.
Pondo. Give a thumbs
That
up
was
if you know
beautiful.
what's up, and give a thumbs down if you're down. Peace.
Talk's hit as a shit!